Family and depression, my journey through connection and struggle. Family. It's the first place we experienced connection, where I first learned what it means to belong, to love, and to have others expect something of me. In my family, I began to understand my identity, how I fit into the world, and more importantly, how I fit into the hearts and minds of those around me. But living with depression inside the family dynamic changes things. It shifts the way I see myself and the way I relate to those I care about most. Suddenly, everything feels fragile. What was once a source of strength now seems fraught with tension. I find myself wondering, what happens to these bonds when I'm no longer the version of me that my family expects? Existentialist thought helps me confront this head-on. Jean-Paul Sartre, Soren Kierkegaard, Simone de Beauvoir, all of them recognize that to live authentically, I have to be honest about the complexities of my existence, even when that existence feels painful. Depression within the family isn't just something I deal with alone. It ripples outward, touching everyone, in ways I can't always control. I've come to see that in the family, I occupy roles that feel almost set in stone. I'm a parent who's supposed to be strong, dependable. I'm the child, the one who's supposed to grow, thrive, and carry on the hopes of those who raised me. But when depression enters the picture, I feel a tension between who I think I should be and who I really am right now. Sartre talked about bad faith, the way we sometimes deceive ourselves to fit into societal roles or expectations. And in my family, this pressure can feel overwhelming. I want to be the person my loved ones expect me to be, but there are days when that feels impossible. I might feel guilty for not being strong enough or for feeling like a burden to those I love, but existentialism teaches us something powerful. Authenticity is an act of love. I don't have to pretend. If I'm struggling, if I'm hurting, that doesn't mean I'm letting my family down. It means I'm human. It means I'm showing my loved ones a deeper truth, that vulnerability is a part of being real. Maybe by letting my guard down, by admitting that I'm not always okay, I'm offering my family something more meaningful than perfection. I'm showing them what it looks like to live with struggle, and perhaps they can meet me where I am. I've often thought about Albert Camus and his concept of the absurd, that constant clash between our desire for meaning and the universe's indifference. Depression makes me feel that clash every day. Simple conversations with my family, questions like, "How are you?" or "How was your day?" can feel absurd. How do I explain that everything feels like nothing? But Camus suggests that in the face of the absurd, I can create my own meaning. And in my family, maybe it's not about having all the right answers. Maybe it's about showing up, even if I don't know what to say. Sometimes, sitting together in silence, watching a movie, or just being in the same room is enough. These small moments of presence can push back against the feeling that everything is meaningless. They remind me that connection, even in its quietest form, still holds value. Sartre once said, "We're condemned to be free." I didn't choose my family, but I can choose how I respond to my relationships with them. Depression can make me feel like I have no choices, like I'm trapped in patterns of withdrawal or conflict. But Sartre would remind me that even in these moments, I'm still free to decide how I want to show up in my family. That freedom might look small, choosing to say, "Today's a hard day," or deciding to stay in the room even when I want to isolate. And for my family, their freedom might mean choosing to support me in ways I didn't expect, by giving me space when I need it, or by offering help without expecting me to have all the answers. This freedom also brings responsibility. I feel the weight of my family's concern, their desire to help me. It can feel like pressure, but existentialism reframes that. Responsibility isn't about carrying the burden alone. It's about realizing that we're all interconnected. My freedom, my choices, impact those around me, just as their choices impact me. Kierkegaard often spoke of the courage it takes to face oneself honestly. And in my family, that courage is tested. Depression often makes me feel like I'm letting people down, like my struggles are a source of shame or disappointment. But living authentically means letting myself be seen, even when I don't like what's visible. For me, this might mean saying the things that feel impossible to say. I'm not okay, I'm struggling, or even, I don't know how to do this anymore. It's hard, especially in a family where we're used to wearing masks of strength for each other. But being honest about my experience is also a gift. It opens the door for real connection, for my family to see me as I am, not as I think I'm supposed to be. And I have to remember that my family is on this journey too. They have their own experiences, their own truths. Beauvoir talked about the other, the idea that each person is a subject with their own perspective. It helps me to understand that my family's responses, their struggles with my depression, are theirs to own. Just as I need space to be real, they do too. One thing I've learned is that life doesn't come with built-in meaning. Meaning is something I and we create. In the family, this is especially true. Depression can make it feel like everything we once enjoyed together has lost its luster. Family traditions, holidays, even day-to-day routines can feel hollow. But reframing offers me a way forward. The idea that meaning doesn't have to be grand. It can be found in the small, everyday moments of family life. Maybe we create meaning by celebrating tiny victories, getting out of bed, finishing a task, or simply surviving the day. Maybe we redefine what it means to spend time together, letting go of the pressure to be productive or happy, and just letting ourselves be. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, talked about how even in the worst of circumstances we can find meaning in suffering. He found meaning in the smallest acts of love and care, even in the darkest times. For my family, this might mean that our shared commitment to keep going, no matter how hard it gets, is its own kind of meaning. When I think about family, I realize it's a space that holds both my deepest struggles and my most significant opportunities for love. I'm reminded that family isn't about perfection. It's about the willingness to face life's challenges together, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. Depression doesn't just affect me, it affects everyone I love. But it's also in these relationships that I can find the strength to keep going. I don't have to pretend everything is okay. I can be real, I can be vulnerable, and I can trust that my family will walk with me through the hard times, even if they don't have all the answers. Family life, like life itself, is filled with both beauty and difficulty. And it's in the choice to stay present, to reach out, and to keep trying that I find meaning. Depression might try to convince me that I'm alone, but existentialism reminds me that I'm not. I'm part of something bigger, a family where struggle and love coexist, where the smallest acts of connection can make all the difference. Thank you for walking with me through these thoughts today. If you're dealing with depression, or if someone in your family is, remember that reaching out is a brave act. Family might not always have easy answers, but it's where we learn that we don't have to navigate this life alone.